Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2019, Us. Without any further, let's get started. In 1896, Addie and her parents are out to a carnival at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. As she scans the carnival, she observes a variety of activities going on around. When her mother is going to the restroom and her father is playing a game, Addie is left alone and goes exploring. She initially arrives at a beach near the carnival, then she enters a fun house, where she is trapped in a house of mirrors when she unexpectedly encounters into her doppelganger. In the present day, as the family of Fur goes to Santa Cruz, California, Addie is all grown up and the mother of two children, Jason and Zora. After hours of travel, they reach Addie's childhood home in Santa Cruz. During lunch, her husband, Gabe Wilson, insists on spending the evening at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk for fun. Addie still recalls the effects of that night at the fun house. She is haunted by memories of the encounter and her recovery, during which she stops speaking for a while. Despite her reluctance to return, Gabe is able to convince her. After that, the family takes a car to the beach, where they enjoy themselves as Zora teases Jason about his magic ring.
Maybe you could just tell us what's supposed to happen.
One time, they saw paramedics removing an elderly man's body with blood on his chest. As soon as they arrive at the beach, they meet their friends, Josh Tyler, Kitty Tyler, and their twin kids.
No.
While the two families are relaxing, Jason goes to the restroom and upon his return, he is startled to discover a man who resembles the dead person they had previously seen. Addie notices Jason missing and gets very scared. When she finally finds Jason, they decide to return home. During the night, Addie tells Gabe about her childhood meeting with her doppelganger, but Gabe doesn't seem to believe her. As they speak, the lights go out. Jason shows up out of the blue and tells his parents about a family that is standing in their driveway. When they glance through the window, a family of four is standing there, and Zora emerges as well. So Addie freaked out and phones the police. Gabe walks outside to tell them to go, but the family just stands there without responding. Gabe grabs a baseball bat and leaves again. But when they begin to approach him, he feels scared and enters the house, locking the doors. But other people outside discover a secret key and enter. To their astonishment, the family discovers that the intruders are their doppelgangers. They corner the family in their living room, threaten them with scissors and force them to sit in front of them. Jason's doppelganger is Pluto, who likes fire. Zora's double is a sadist named Umber. Cav's double is Abraham, and the group leader appears to be at his duplicate's name, Red. She has a raspy, guttural voice and is the only one with the ability to talk. Red informs them that they are the shadow of the Wilson family and are referred to as the Tether. The Tethered share a soul with their lookalike counterparts and have been living as their shadows their whole life. However, now that they have arrived to untether themselves, Red tells them a story about a girl in her shadow, referring to herself and Addie. While Addie had nice and warm food, Red had to eat raw-blooded rabbits, and she had soft toys to play with, while Red's toys were cold and pointy. Even though Addie had met Gabe, her devoted prince, Red had to wed Abraham since he was tethered to Gabe. Similarly, while Addie gave birth to Zora, a loving daughter, but Red gave birth to Umber, a vicious monster. Finally, she says that while Addie had doctors to operate on her and assist with labor, Red had to do everything by herself. Red has come to despise Addie and her perfect life, so they have come out of the shadows to claim their life. After an explanation, Red makes Addie bind herself to the table. Abraham drags Gabe away to the other room. Umber chases Zora through the streets and Pluto makes Jason play with him. The intruders' plan is to separate the Wilsons, terrorize them, and kill them. While they are playing with fire in a small room, Jason sees Pluto's scarred face for the first time. Umber pursues Zora, and just as she is ready to murder her with a pair of scissors, a guy stops her. Zora flees, and Umber fatally stabs the man.
I said come.
In the meantime, Abraham strikes Gabe until he passes out. then places him in a trash bag and loads him into the boat. Gabe tears a tiny hole in the bag and notices the baseball bat beside Abraham. When the boat abruptly stops, Gabe takes advantage of the moment to hit Abraham with the bat, pushing him into the water. However, as soon as the boat moves, Gabe also falls into the water. Gabe sees the boat stop and climbs on top of it. Abraham suddenly attacks him from behind, but Gabe kills him by pushing him back into the water. Gabe then drives the boat in the direction of the house. In the meantime, Jason understands that Pluto mimics his behavior, so he uses his magic ring to divert Pluto's attention before escaping and locking him in the room. When Red hears the noise, she comes and opens the door for Pluto while searching the house for Jason. She then finds Addie's old stuffed animal and chops off its head. While still cuffed to the table, when she spots a fireplace poke nearby and obtains it, Addie manages to get free of her cuffs. After finding Jason, she then flees the house. They discover Zora in their driveway, and just as Gabe arrives with his boat, the family boards it right away and escapes. Meanwhile, in the Tyler family's house, Kitty hears a noise and instructs Josh to find out what it is. Suddenly, their doppelgangers show up and murder the family in a matter of seconds. When the Wilsons arrive, Addie begs Josh's double to help her, and when he answers the door for her, she recognizes it's not him and strikes him in the head with the fireplace poker. Nevertheless, he suffers little to no harm, and Addie is also drawn in by those inside. When imposter Josh approaches Gabe and the children outside, the children flee, and Gabe runs away to divert Josh's attention. As the children search for their mother inside the house, Zora uses a golf club as a weapon. After hearing Addie yelling, they walk upstairs and discover the twins' dead bodies on the ground. While the twin doppelgangers are playing in the background, one of them suddenly emerges in front of Zora, and she strikes her with the bat, causing her to fall over the railings. Next, the other twin attacks them, and after a brief altercation, Zora kills her as well. Kitty's double is in the bedroom, where she has tied Addie to the bed. Meanwhile, Josh follows Gabe as he runs to the boat. Gabe shoots Josh with the flare gun and fights him till he dies. As she watches Gabe kill Josh through the window, Zora attacks Kitty from behind, but Kitty avoids it. Just as she is ready to stab Zora, Jason hits Kitty on the head to save her. While sitting in the living room, Wilson attempts to understand the situation. The 911 lines are all packed, and they see from the news that this has been going on across the country. According to the news, as they emerge from the sewers with scissors as weapons, doppelgangers are killing people around the country by ruthlessly slashing them. They witness the doubles forming a huge human chain after killing their counterparts. It appears as though they have been preparing for this for months. Because the whole country is under attack, Addie chooses to drive along the coast and flee to Mexico.
They know where we are.
As the family gets into the car, Umbri appears ahead of them. Zora tries to strike her with the car, but Umbri jumps on top of it. After that, Zora suddenly breaks the car, throwing her into a tree and impaling her on a branch. The family runs away from the scene after seeing multiple dead victims and gets stopped by a burning car in the middle of the road. Pluto, Jason's double, shows up there. While Addie walks outside to fight him, the others remain in the car. Jason quickly learns that this is a trap and that Pluto plans to set the family's car on fire. He then orders everyone else to get out. Jason remembers that the doppelgangers mimic their movements, so he begins to walk backward before Pluto can light the match. This causes Pluto to follow as well. When Pluto finally makes it to the burning car and dies from burns, Red emerges from hiding and abducts Jason.
Jason!
As she rushes after them, Addie sees the long human chain of doppelgangers standing across the beach. After that, she arrives at the location she had visited years before. She walks around it and finds a door that leads somewhere downstairs. A rabbit comes out of the door. She descends and finds a huge area that appears to be a secret establishment. She takes the escalator down to a large hallway with a number of rooms on either side. A lot of bunnies are running through the hallway, and she finds Red in what looks to be a classroom. When the doppelganger human chain is created on the board, then Addie asks her where her son is. Red begins to babble about how they are also human.
But your people's
After that, she reveals the reason behind their existence. Red discloses that the tethered, also known as the shadows, are truly man-made entities that the government manufactured to manipulate the originals for their own twisted ends. The project's goal was to make soul-connected clones of the original humans. The goal of this research was to utilize the clones to manipulate people throughout America like puppets. However, the experiments were unsuccessful, and the tethers were left underground for generations, while blindly imitating their counterparts' behavior and to rely on rabbit meat. When Faith had brought her and Addie together that evening, the others soon realized that Red was unique and they chose her to be their leader.
The tethered saw that I was.
For years, they had been planning this. They wanted to get revenge on their rivals. But more than that, they wanted to make a statement about their existence, so they formed the human chain. After Addie's encounter with Red, her parents had admitted her to a ballet dance class, so Red used to mimic Addie and dance too. She claimed that dancing was what saved her life. When they begin a ballet-style fight in which she gracefully dodges all of Addie's blows, Red gains the upper hand in the battle. Red runs through the hallways, as Addie follows her with the fireplace poker in her hand. As their fight continues, Red immediately jumps at Addie from behind with a pair of scissors. But before she can reach her, Addie stabs her with the fireplace poker, killing her. Red is near death, and then she whistles the same tune Addie heard the first time she saw Red. Addie becomes agitated by this, so she kills Red maniacally by strangling her with her shackles. After she discovers Jason hiding inside a locker nearby, they both go outside and discover Gabe and Zora hiding inside an ambulance. After that, the family leaves in the same ambulance, and we catch a flashback to the night Eddie met Red. Red was right in front of Addie when she was abruptly choked to unconscious. After dragging her to her room, where she was bound to the bed, Red changed into Addie's clothes and assumed her real-life role. Since Addie's parents took home their daughter's doppelganger that night, Red is the only tethered who has the ability to speak and think in a different way, leading the revolt. Red's voice is damaged because her double choked her, damaging her larynx and making her voice raspy and guttural. This also explains why Addie was discovered at the beach as a child and was unable to speak. Although shadows are mute, Addie's shadow eventually picks up speech and transforms into a normal person who can laugh and love without realizing she is a clone. The film ends with the doppelgangers creating a human chain that stretches for several miles. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.